You've been working overtime to protect your children from all the lies, indoctrination, and agendas, only to find out that the stuff is everywhere. If so, you're not alone. There are countless truth soldiers out there who are enduring the same battle you are, and there's something we can do. And we're not here to hand out blindfolds to everybody so we can protect all of our children. We are here to give them a strong foundation, one that is based on proving all things and using earth and life science as well as math and biblical history to prove that our Father's words are the truth. It's a scientific journey. You have two teachers joining with lots of experience, and this journey is one that will be live and interactive for multiple time zones around the world, where children are logging in to learn and explore our Father's intelligent design, as well as what this world actually is compared to what they say it is. It's a life-changing experience, and it will provide you and your children with a foundation that the lies cannot break apart. And if this sounds like something you're interested in, go to creationstandard.com, check out our course information, and register today so that you don't miss out on this incredible journey as we replace the indoctrination with our Father's provable truth of creation at creationstandard.com. All right, welcome back, everybody. We have a legendary guest speaker, Dave Weiss, that most of you know. You can find him at flatearthdave.com. I'm going to have that rolling across the bottom as a banner here in just a second if I can find it. But you guys are blessed to be having him set aside time. He just made it back from Mexico, where the place is now being blown up by the cartel. So we're blessed that he made it back when he did, protected.
I'm still in Mexico, just on the other side.
You're on the other side. Okay, so you're still there. Okay.
Yeah.
I stand corrected.
Most of the speakers and the attendees are stuck in Puerto Vallarta. They're trying to get out. Planes are starting to fly out now, but so far, no injuries.
Yeah, I haven't seen it on the news. I saw it on a social media post, and so that's how I found out about it.
Just know that a lot of the stuff that you're seeing, it's pretty bad, but a lot of the stuff you're seeing on the news is fake. You'll show an airplane on fire at the airport, didn't happen. They'll show, certain buildings blowing up, didn't happen. But they did blow up all they have it's called the Oxos. It's like 7-Eleven. They blew up a bunch of them, buses, cars. We had some people in a taxi, and the people made it out. Everything in the car, everything else in the car did not make it out.
Oh my goodness. I'm glad the people made it out. This is times of major shaking with what's going on in the world. Truth leaking out everywhere, people waking up. Can't stop the Holy Spirit and hold that back. So the awakening is happening, and all of this commotion is by their design. And so they're going to try to hide the truth, but we have a lot of truth soldiers here joining us. And so Dave's going to allow you guys to come in, ask questions, just be respectful of time, because it only allows 8 people to join us outside of us two, so 10 total. And so you can come in, ask your questions, and then exit the studio until others join in. And if there's room, you can always come back. Okay, so feel free to cycle in and out as we go and ask questions. All right. Looks like we have almost everybody here. We got 26 people watching live, starting to break our numbers on our other channel just with how many awesome truth soldiers we have out here. Let's see who we got. Lauren, I'm going to go ahead. You want me to go ahead and start bringing in some of the students?
Sure. I could talk a little bit. That people, when 2014, when I became a flat earther, you mentioned flat earth to somebody, and you get laughed at, you get ridiculed, and a lot of people can't handle that, and they just like, maybe I'm wrong, and they throw out what I call false claims. The globe defenders, whether they're paid or possessed, which is basically the same thing, they do what I call Empty claims. There is no proof of flat Earth. Well, the opposite is true. There's only proof of flat Earth, right? Neil deGrasse Tyson, the high priest of scientism, he'll say, Eratosthenes did his sticks and shadows. He's, now it's wells, it's sticks, it's shadows. Who knows what it is? And he goes, but it doesn't work with 3. Well, it does work with 3. It works with 10. It works with 50. Yeah. It works, but he just says it doesn't work.
Yeah.
In his diagram, he shows you that it does work, but he says it doesn't work, and people just listen to it. So, and you'll notice that the biggest defenders of the globe, they have either an Australian accent, an English accent, and it's just more convincing. It's a orchestration of actors. So I want to talk a little bit about how they've brainwashed us so well, because Josh, when you first heard about flat Earth, you laughed at it and ridiculed it probably, right?
Yes. I got the same information that is in my daughter's modern Christian science text about Christopher Columbus and people falling off the edge. It's in the book right now on page 33. If you can believe that.
Of course. All of that, Christopher Columbus, he wasn't out to prove the shape of the Earth. He was trying to go to India or whatever. The story is just totally made up. But most of the stories that we hear, the Eratosthenes story of his sticks and shadows, I don't think that ever happened. I mean, because if it did, he figured out the shape, the size of the Earth, but nobody ever mentioned it in any books after that. All the mathematicians from his area never mentioned him, and he wasn't mentioned in a book until the 1900s.
Wow.
That's when they just inserted it in there. So anytime someone points to history, you could just say, cool story, bro, because it's just a story. These people probably didn't even exist. And if he did, the logistics of pulling what he pulled off would be impossible. How would they communicate? How did the guy know he went 500 miles away? How did they take a measurement at the exact same time? Was he in the same time zone? There's so many issues, but I just want to quickly talk about how our brains work. The simple version is we have our subconscious memory, right? It's the center of your brain. That's where all of the data is being stored. Everything is being stored there. And then you have your conscious screen. Just imagine that as a screen around that filters things out. And life experience, the more life experience you have, the tighter and tighter that screen becomes. Josh, did you know that I used to be president of the United States?
Yes, I saw it in text.
You saw it. Well. So my point is, you have enough life experience to store that information in your subconscious as false. No need to verify. In a year from now, if someone says, "Can you name 5 presidents?" You might even have a slight. I remember Dave Weiss said that, but that's not true. And that's going to be in a millisecond. That's going to just go through your head, and you're going to name all 5 presidents from your memorization. But when you're a child, you have no life experience. When you're under 7 years old, and younger, your conscious screen is wide open. And when you're sent to school, you're taught that the teachers are gods. They're never going to lie to you, and the textbook would never lie, right? So you read it in the textbook. The teacher says it, you store it as truthful information, and you base your entire life around that. So then later in life, you'll watch a movie or Star Trek or Star Wars or something, and you'll be like, oh yeah, the Earth is a globe. And that's how in the time and space. And you'll start putting these things together, and all of that is stored as truthful information. And it's not just one truthful fact. It is a web of truth that you have interwebbed into your mind. So then when, something comes up, there's a comet coming in, or there's an alien spaceship they think they saw, you're going to use all of this stuff, and you're going to be judging it as truthful information, basing it off of that life experience. So that's why when you talk to an adult and tell them the Earth is flat, they instantly become a 5-year-old, because that's when they learned about the globe, when they were 5. And that's why they act like a 5-year-old. So
makes sense.
Yeah. So you guys already know the Earth is flat. So I hope you have some questions, because people will say, well, what about this? What about that? And guess what? There's answers to most things, but the best thing a flat earther could say when he doesn't know the answer is, I don't know. I wasn't there. I haven't been there, because I don't know is a fine answer. When you talk to somebody that 100% believes the Earth is a globe, there's no doubt in their mind, and you say, well, how do seasons work? they'll just make up something to support their truth belief, because if you have a belief that's 100% no doubt in your mind will not let you have a contradicting thought to that belief. It'll instantly make up something, otherwise you become disoriented.
Exactly.
It literally disorients you if you have a belief. Now, if you say, well, Earth could be round, it could be flat, and somebody gives you evidence of one or the other, you're going to start looking into it. But if you believe 100%, no doubt, no need checking, anyone that thinks different is a fool. When you hear some contradicting information, like, these buildings are behind the curve, but we can see them, and then you see them, and you go, oh, well, just refraction. And you make up something ludicrous, because it has to be, because you believe that as 100%. There you go. We've
seen it happen in real time when we watched a guy film a Selenelian eclipse, and he's like, and the shadow's on the top coming down. It shouldn't be, but he starts making up answers, because in his mind, he's an innocent guy that was deceived, but he's having to make up some weird excuse. And he's like, okay, so that's how it happens. And could never demonstrate it, but you can come up with something off the top of your head. And that is usually what we've all done. Because I remember asking questions like that to my coworkers as a science teacher was, how come we never see the stars on the other side of the sun if we're going around the sun? And I'm asking this question, and we both looked at each other, and she goes, I don't know. And I go, me neither. Oh, well, move on. And we just kind of like go about our day.
They call it, they call the Selenelian eclipse the impossible eclipse. And that's it. It's the impossible eclipse, and they don't bother explaining it. I was going to show you what am I? Oh yeah, this you saw this. You guys have done this already, right?
My fundamental class has Earth Foundation. They haven't seen this yet, but we have talked about eclipses briefly, just not solar. We've done lunar eclipses.
So let's talk about lunar eclipse first. So when you talk about a lunar eclipse, they go, well, the Earth can't be flat because the only shape that can make a curved shadow on the moon is a sphere. Because if it was a disc or flat or square, and they give you all of these straw man nonsensical arguments, right? So, whoops, let me go back here. What happened there? Hold on a second. I'm going to switch that back. So when they tell you that, you just believe it, because doing this demonstration, which I'm going to show you, takes time and effort. And somebody told you just believe it already. Did you know, Josh, that when you use a sphere to cast a shadow on another sphere, it's a straight line?
Yes, that is not what you expect.
Yeah. So let me show you right here. I'll just play this right here. So we got the light, we got the Earth, right? And Earth is making a round shadow on the flat wall. And then we got the moon, and we're just going to put the moon to give it an eclipse. And it's a straight line.
What? Look at that.
It's a perfectly straight line. You know what's funny is if we used a book with a straight edge, it makes a curved line on the ball. The curves cancel each other out. So when they say, only a ball can do that, again, it's inverted. It's the opposite of the truth.
Wow.
Opposite of the truth.
So it's a flat moon. Globe Earth, flat moon.
Well, or the moon's not spherical, or it's just not what you say. This is another demonstration. It just doesn't. When you take what they say and actually test it, it's usually the opposite.
Wow.
All right, I'll show you the lunar eclipse. The solar eclipse. So the solar eclipse is when the moon, allegedly, when the moon blocks out the sun, and nobody has ever seen the moon approach, eclipse, or exit the face of the sun. Now you see a circle, like right here, but do you see the moon here? I just see missing sun. Because the eclipse matches the sky around it. It's just missing sun. And people say, well, it's too bright to see the moon because the sun is blinding you. But when we go into a total eclipse, you should be able to see the moon. One, because the sun is basically blocked. Two, from the moon's position, there's a full Earth, like a full moon. Yeah. And the Earth is 6 times bigger and more reflective if it has all those oceans on it. It should be Earth shining the moon, just like the moon shines on us. I can read a book in the middle of nowhere with moonlight, and it casts my shadow on the ground. So the Earth shine should light up the moon. No one's ever seen it.
Wow. That's a great point.
But yeah. So the sun circles around in June around the Tropic of Cancer in 24 hours. Well, in December, it's way out here, and it's got to do the same amount of distance in 24 hours. So it has to go faster. Makes sense. You guys all know that, right?
Yeah.
It's got to go faster. So we looked at all of the eclipses, and all of the longest eclipses are in the north. Look, the north one started. It's already started. Now the south one has started. North one's still going. The south one ends right now, and the north one's still going. So it's a longer eclipse in the north. Every lengthy world record, not world record, just all the longest eclipses happen in the north. I can't think of another explanation of why that would work, how that would work on a ball.
Definitely not. It should be 50-50. That's crazy. Yeah. Even.
And this is the Selenilian you were talking about. The observer sees the sun and the moon above the horizon. The eclipse shouldn't start, but the eclipse started from the top. Right? If the Earth is coming up, it should come in from the bottom. This is what they saw. This is what they should have seen.
Wow.
Impossible, I call it. The impossible eclipse.
Wow.
All right. And then when I talked about you never see the sun, you never see the moon. Do you see the moon? I think I see the moon. My programming tells me I see the moon. I just see sky and missing sun. Look, sky and missing sun. So have you guys seen my rear projection eclipse?
I haven't shown that yet. No, I don't.
Want me to show that, or do we?
Yeah, show that, because they haven't seen that yet. That would be good to see.
So this is me. I filmed an actual eclipse, and the sky was a little hazy, and I got it without it blowing out the camera. Perfect. This is the eclipse. It's going, right? And this is what I call my paper towel sky eclipse. Now, I think that the sun and the moon that we see isn't the actual sun and the moon. And we can talk about that biblically in a minute if you want. I think it's just a projection of the real sun and moon that are in or above the firmament, right? So this is a projection onto a paper towel, and we're looking at it on this side. And if you notice, I'm using a bottle cap, a Snapple bottle cap, to eclipse the sun. You can't see it. You just see paper towel sky, right? You just see paper towel sky. Same thing here. You just see sky. So these two are very similar. Very similar. We don't see the moon. Now, this is an eclipse. It was about 95%. And this is blowing out the lens, so you really can't see the eclipse. It's just bright. But this is a lens flare. This is not moving. It's locked to the sun. So what is that? Now, the sun is eclipsed. So is that another eclipse, or what is that? And my theory was this is the source sun. This is the one we can see it because the sun is 95% dimmed. So now we can see through the sky. So when the sun's out of the sky, we can see the stars because the sky isn't. The atmosphere becomes opaque with all that light. But when all the light's taken away, we can see through the atmosphere. So I modeled my eclipse like this. All right. Let's just jump forward here. All right. So here's my paper towel sky. I'm eclipsing, and you don't see the source of this. So now I'm going to show you behind it. Right. So here I just have my projector, and here's my bottle cap. You don't see it. This is the sun that we see. And this is the source back here. So I said, maybe the sky is more transparent. Maybe it's more like a tissue paper sky. So I did it again with tissue paper, and you can see the source through the tissue paper. Look, here comes the eclipse. There it is. That's the projector behind. This is the sun that we see. And if I compare it to the real eclipse, do you guys see any difference?
Wow, that's identical.
Yeah. Cool. Now, did you guys see the crescent moon in the last couple of days, like 3 or 4 days ago? The upside down crescent moon. It was like a smiley face. I have to really think about it. Everyone's saying that's impossible. Like, do you ever remember it being like that? It's always off to the side.
Yeah, it seems like 100% of the time it was either the left or the right side waxing or waning.
Yep. But this time it's underneath, and people saw it all over the world. I don't know. I have to look into it more. I was just curious what you guys thought.
Yeah, I saw somebody talking about that this morning, and they were very serious. Like, hey, I have somebody. I think they had somebody in New Zealand that filmed it, and to them it looked like it was on one side, but to them, and I think somewhere in North America, it was directly underneath. And they're like, how does that even work on the globe model? You know, like I don't understand how they would see it looking that way where they were in New Zealand.
Over there, how it works on a flat Earth. It makes sense. So, all right, where do you want to go from here?
Well, let's see. We can bring some students on in order if they're ready, and if they're not ready, we can kind of cycle them through one at a time, or we can bring on several at a time and have a conversation. We got the one who's here first, the legendary Rebecca. Let me minimize your screen so we can see Rebecca. And, there you go.
And by the way, on my app, if you hit the question mark, that's the frequently asked question page, and there's all the questions you're looking for answered. But here's eclipses right here. Eclipses.
Oh, that's so cool.
And all of the videos on eclipses can be there.
I like the organization there. And you guys can get that on what? Android phones?
Android and Apple. But I was saying, any of your students that have Android phones, I will give you some free download codes. But I can't do that for Apple, but I can do it for Android.
Awesome. You guys hear that? That is cool. Free download for Android. A lot of work has gone into that. I can tell a lot of work has gone into that app. Well, that is cool. And we're going to now have you guys give some good questions, good answers, good thoughts, whatever you want to ask Professor Weiss. we will ask. So go ahead. This is Rebecca, one of our Creation Standard students. We have opened this up to our students only for the time being, but if parents want to join in of students and ask questions, they can ask as well. There you go.
Hi there.
Coming, Rebecca. Can you hear us? You got sound and everything working? We'll make sure.
So what led you to biblical cosmology or flat Earth?
Ask that again.
What led you to biblical cosmology or flat Earth?
So that's a great question, because I was not really religious at all in my life growing up, and I was born into a Jewish family, but we were really non-practicing. We just went to the temple on some of the high holidays and never paid any attention. I just grew up. I was a good kid, and I want to give you the full story because this is an interesting story. When I was in junior high school, there was a group called Young Life, which is a Christian organization, and they were taking kids on a trip to Bermuda, and I wanted to go. And I was like, but I'm Jewish. And my mom's like, you can go. And I was like, cool. And so I went on this trip. And we get there, and the counselor is like, we're going for a hike, and we go to the edge of this cliff. He sits us all down. He says, we're going to do a Bible reading. Now, I'm a freshman in junior high school. And I'm like, okay, it's a little weird. I've never ever opened a Bible. And the first thing he reads, you can probably tell me what verse it is, Josh, is where the stars fell to the earth. What is that from?
Oh, that's Revelation.
Yeah, so he reads Revelations, and me being a scientific person, I'm like, a star falling to the earth? That would be like, a house falling on a grain of sand, Like a star is so big compared to the earth. And I discredited the Bible from that day forward for 40 plus years.
Wow.
Because of that. Now, that is by design. All right. The heliocentric model hides God and scares you and makes you not want to look at God and not believe in God. And so for all my life, I was kind of looking, I was spiritual, if you will, but I just didn't believe any of it. But then after I discovered the flat earth, because I was forced to look, I was like, I had a podcast looking into a lot of the big deceptions of the world. It was called Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole. And people say, hey, have you ever looked into flat earth? And like any normal person, I would be like, oh, you're dumb. And I would just ban them from commenting anymore. And so more and more people kept sending me stuff. And then I was talking to a researcher that I respect a lot, Sophia Smallstorm, and she's like, Dave, I think the earth is flat. And I was like, not you too. And so she sent me some videos. I started researching with the intent of not learning, but to debunk flat earth and prove the globe. And that's how you become a flat earther. So once I realized that the earth is flat, it's not flat is not a shape, and it's a understanding that this world is intelligently designed. And I believe there's I should always remember it. Matt Long always tells me, and I always forget the verse, but there's a verse that basically translates to, once you see my creation, you can no longer deny my existence. And that's true, because once you understand and know that this place is intelligently designed, you can no longer have faith in a creator. You know there's a creator. And so I found it my life mission to help people get to that spot where they know there's a creator. And then that's where I kind of draw the line, because I think once you know there's a creator, then it's up to you to have your relationship with the creator. So that's how I got into it. And then it's people like Josh and his brother and Rob Skiba and other people that are out there just showing the truth, biblical truth, rather than pushing it on you, right? Because if someone came up to me and it's like, you need to do this or you're going to hell, you just push the person away. But these guys set an example on how to just set an example, just be that person. So that's how I got into it. Did I answer your question?
Yep, it did.
Awesome.
All right.
And we have more with questions. Let's see. We got Patrick. It'll let me add device not connected. For some reason, it won't let me add you if your device isn't connected. Kristen, and we got Fiona. Let's see if we can hear you. Hopefully we can get sound working. Even if you don't have your camera turned on, if we have sound, that's good. And you can talk. So Kristen, does the mic work? If not, there you go.
We're just listening.
Okay, just listening. All right. Well, if you're just listening, tune in to the live so that others can join in and ask questions. We should have room, though. I think we have open slots, so you guys are okay right now, but I know it might fill up here in a minute.
And if you have questions in the chat, I guess just tag you or me. I'm DITRH. Stands for Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, and that way we'll see them.
Yeah. Write the questions in all caps, too. That'll help. Turn on the caps lock. All right, let's see. Let's see who is next. Fiona. There you go. You can ask any questions you'll want here or share any testimonies. Maybe if some of his work helped wake you up like it did me. You can say some things about that. Let's see. We got Fiona.
While you're pulling them up, I'll ask Rebecca a question. Rebecca, when you talk to other kids that go to public school that think the earth is a globe, do you discuss your view of the earth with them?
I'm homeschooled.
I know, but do you have friends outside of your homeschool? Like when you see friends that go to school, do you have any indoctrinated kids?
Well, my neighbor is, but my neighbor, their family is one of the big families in the church that we went to. We kind of got told to leave by God. Let's just put it that way.
All right. The reason I was asking that is because it's always fun to have those conversations with people, but people get super triggered and upset. And I would say just ask questions, don't force it down their throat. As I was saying with, Josh, being a great example for me, just ask questions. Can you explain this? Did you know this? Just let it sink, because when you just make one point, it'll stick with them and it'll never go away. And then eventually they'll figure it out.
Right. One time we love to play spinning around in the yard, and one time we were all spinning, and then eventually we sat all down and we're all busy, of course, and I asked her, do you know why we don't feel like that when we when the globe is all spinning? And she goes, I don't know. And I say, because it isn't spinning. And she's like, no.
There you go. Well, Just little things like that. And don't get triggered, especially if they snap back and go, "You're stupid" or something. That's their problem, not your problem. Just when I say the truth, we don't know exactly what this place is. We know what the Bible says it is. We know what we can test. And there's a lot we don't know. Globers think they know everything. So
my mom has been told many times that we need to go to school to learn actually, which you don't want to do, because if you go to school, you're going to learn the wrong way, and that's the indoctrination
right
place.
So. All right.
Here we
go. Got?
Now we got Lauren. Welcome, Lauren. We got a few others that'll be joining too.
Lauren, you got to get closer to the microphone. We can't hear you. You got a very sensitive mic, or a not sensitive mic. Go ahead.
I'm just wondering how that's possible to just see the sky and not see anything that's blocking the sun. Like, what's blocking the sun is what I'm really...
You're talking about the eclipse, the solar eclipse? That's a very good question. So there's a thing called light obfuscation. The atmosphere lights up with the light, and over distance it becomes opaque. If you got into a crystal clear swimming pool, a really long one, Olympic sized swimming pool, you got your mask on and you go underneath on one side and look all the way across the pool, you can't see the other side, even though the water's clear, because the light attenuates. It gets absorbed into the water in the medium. Well, the air is the same thing. It's just thinner. It's a fluid, and the light just attenuates. Right? When you go out early in the morning, let's say the sun's going to rise at 7:30, and you go out at 6:15 or 7:15, the whole sky is lit. You can read. You can go on the west side of your house. The sun's on the other side, hasn't even come, and you could read a book out there. Why is that? Right? It's because it's lighting up the atmosphere. And I think it's an electrical thing. The sun is fluorescing the gases in the sky. There's lots of nitrogen in the sky. That's where we get our blue light from. One of the reasons we get our blue light. So let me show you here. The sun that we see, I believe it's like a projection. When you take a magnifying glass and you ever burn something with a magnifying glass, you get the sun and focus it to a dot. I think that the sun is above, you can also say within, but above the firmament from our point of view, and it's focusing a point of energy into the sky. Well, the moon doesn't have any light on the side that is eclipsing the sun, because we're on, the real sun is back here and the moon comes in front of it. So there'd be nothing for us to see. There's no light coming off of it for it to project into our sun, into our sky. I think I can show you. I think I have a quick demonstration here. That would be under dome, I think. So you can also do this at home if you have a glass dome, like a snow globe dome, or a glass bowl, nice rounded. You can turn it upside down and put it outside in the sun, and you'll see a sun floating in that hole. You'll see a sun floating in that hole, inside that bowl.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's very, very, very cool. I'm just looking for it. Where is it? Okay, is that it? No, this is kind of it. Here, so if you put a glass bowl outside in the sun, you'll see like a sun floating in here. But in reality, the sun's up here. But you'll see it here. And then you could make that disappear by getting like a tennis ball and moving it out here. And boom, that thing will get eclipsed. And if you were a little ant on the floor here, you would never see the tennis ball, because you wouldn't be able to see past this dome. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Here I have so I have a glass dome on a white rug here, and I'm bringing a light just across here. And if you look inside, there's a little light in there, and it looks like it's floating in the middle of the dome. And as it goes away, it just goes down to the edge. It never goes below it. And then it just fades out and it's gone. And now it's nighttime. And when I bring it back, it'll just appear on the horizon. It'll rise over you. This is the apparent sun. The real sun's up here. Apparent sun. And you're this is your dome of vision. It's a more complex thing to think of, and people don't like thinking beyond the simple solution. The simplest answer is the easiest one to remember, and it's the least amount of work. And we've been trained just to go for the easiest answer. Boats disappear from the bottom up because they go over a ball. True. If they went over a ball, they would disappear from the bottom up. But there's other reasons that they disappear from the bottom up on a flat Earth. And we can prove it's not a ball the size that they say, because the ball has a physical limitation to the maximum amount you can see. And we can see far beyond that physical limitation, right? A 6-foot tall person standing at the edge of calm water on a perfectly clear day shouldn't be able to see the surface of that water beyond 3 miles, because there's 6 feet of curvature in 3 miles if the Earth is a globe. So the water should dip down behind the water in front of it. It's by looking at a basketball. You can only see a certain distance on the basketball, and then the rest is behind the basketball horizon. Well, we can see things far, 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 far beyond that. And there's also times where we can't see far at all. If it was foggy, you can barely see across the street, right? But on a perfectly clear day, there is a maximum distance that you can see on a ball, and we can break that all of the time.
For real.
Yeah.
There we go.
This is these are 2 oil rigs, 9.4 and 6.2 miles away. The horizon should be like where my finger is, but we can see the water here. We can see the water in between them, and we can see the water far beyond this one. So people say, well, the globe's just bigger. If the globe is bigger than they tell us, then all of cosmology is wrong. They can't change the size of the globe, because all of the solar system dynamics, space flight dynamics, everything they've ever told us is wrong. So they can never admit it.
There we go. We're getting some more students joining. Let me see if I can add more to the stage real quick. And good question, Lauren. I'm going to go ahead and cycle you out. Do you have another question before I bring more in? All right. Thank you.
Thank
Lauren.
you.
Here we got Leah and Alyssa and Britton. Welcome. You guys have any questions or things to share?
Yes, sir. I was just wondering, because me and my uncle, we talk about this all the time. We love to discuss the biblical cosmology versus the globe cosmology. And not necessarily for him, but from other people, sometimes they might say, well, does it really matter? Does it really matter if it's stationary or if it's a globe? It's not really a salvation issue, And in my opinion, it may not be a salvation issue necessarily. But as for it matters, I think it matters, but I don't know necessarily what to say to people when they say it doesn't.
Good question. And there's 2 questions in the chat, which I will get to in a moment. It was a salvation issue for me. I didn't believe in God, and now I know there's a God. So for me, it saved me. And I can't tell you how many thousands of people have had the same experience. They said the exact same thing. So also, could you ever, I'll ask Josh this question. Josh, could you ever honor God to the full amount necessary?
Not if I, yeah.
Yeah. Could you?
Not if I didn't believe in his truth. Yeah, it's like I thought I was, but it takes you to a different level when you finally.
Yeah. So when you understand his creation and your position in it, right? God created the universe and made you on a speck of dust flying through an infinite universe with trillions and quadrillions of other specks of dust where there might be other people. That's what they want you to believe. Or God created you at the center of this creation. God is right there above Polaris, right? God made this entire thing for us and gave us incredible abilities. Flat Earth brings you back to the center. So how's that for an answer? On my app, again, the question mark page, my favorite section of all is Why the Lie, right here. Great videos in there. Great videos. And that'll help you answer that question if you watch a bunch of those videos. In the chat, can I answer a chat question?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I don't quite understand why the sunshine is a different shape on the flat Earth, and that's a great question. So right now, the sun is out near the Tropic of Capricorn, and you can see that it's kind of wraps around. Now, there's two reasons it wraps a little bit, right? We'll get into that. When the sun comes out here, the dome lets the light wrap around. The dome makes the light wrap a little bit farther that way. And so let me turn the time lapse on, and we'll go to, where are we? February, March, April, May, June. So in June, the sun comes in here, and now we don't get that kidney shape as much. We get more of a circle. Now, again, the light goes out to the dome's reflecting, but we're getting more of a, of an oval shape here. That's the first thing. And then when we go to the equinox, 1, 2, 3, June, July, August, September, we get a straight line. Now, why is that? Well, the sun's here, and it's kind of creating its circle here, but the sun is also hitting the dome and wrapping around, and it's making half day and half night. It's making a straight line. And you can recreate this with a light inside of a bowl, moving it back and forth, and you can create these same patterns with the light wrapping around. So it's more than just a theory. It's an explanation that you can test and prove. Now, it doesn't mean that there's a dome, but if you believe that there's a dome, there's the answer. The other one is, I didn't know this until recently, light travels farther through warm air than it does through cold air. I thought the opposite was true. So the light will travel in between. So in between the tropics, the sun just goes back and forth as it circles around here. So in the tropics, it's warm. That's why they call it the tropics. It's in between the tropics. And so the light will stretch out even farther when we're in between the tropics, and it wraps around a little farther. And that's how we get the shape. There you go. All right. And then the other one was, if you're having a debate with someone, this is a great question, about flat Earth, what is the best point to prove it? It's real. It depends on the person. Yeah. I've tried with people, and they didn't get anything. And then I mentioned that flat Earth is highly censored. They're like, wait a minute, it's censored? Why is it censored? And that's what got them. Somebody else, I could show them all the science, and they're like, well, I'm a Bible believer. So then I show them page 1 of the Bible. First line, page 1. God separated the waters from the waters. Is that first line? That's the first line in the Bible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the one that gets them. Other people are very scientific. They want to see, I show them a video about lights across a frozen lake that we can see them all lined up. It all depends on the person. So I like asking them, are you in a religious cult? They're like, no. And I'm like, but you believe the Earth is a globe. And they're like, well, yes, of course it is. All the science says so. And you say, what science? And they're going to say, all of it. I'm like, no, not all of it. Those are words. What science? And they don't know. They say, all right, I'm going to ask you some questions about the model that you're defending. What's the circumference? What's the radius? What's the distance from the sun? How fast is the equator spinning in comparison to Alaska? How far is it from the sun? How big is the sun? How fast is the sun moving? They don't know any of those answers. And you go, so you don't know any of those answers, but you're defending that model. And I can guarantee you don't even know what the flat Earth is. You probably have a wrong idea of what flat Earth, that we're a disk in space, right? And they'll be like, well, yeah. And so they're defending something. That's the definition of being in a religious cult. And they don't like that. But that's one way to start.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, I designed this app to make it easy, because with the censorship, it's really hard to find this stuff, and so it's all at your fingertips. And also, I'll just show you another thing in the app. Let's say you're talking to somebody about perspective. You hit the images icon, and I'll just type in perspective. And here we have a bunch of different things. You could show them, look, these street lights. I got something blocking my window here. Hold on. Here we go. Click. All right. So these street lights we know they're all the same height, but they look like they're going down and away. Well, here's the sun going down and away. Are these street lights going below the street? No. So it's the same thing. So you can show them different things that you're talking about, right? You know, the water should be ramping down and away from you. If you're standing on a ball, you're on a boat, in every direction, the earth should be going down and away because you're on a ball. But for some reason, it goes up. That's weird. Well, the hallway does the exact same thing. When I put them together, it's the exact same perspective. So we know the hallway's flat. Flat earthers know water lays flat, but Globers say it's going down and away. Why does it match? Why does it match? So you have all of these things at your fingertips to help them understand what they're seeing.
That is huge and helpful to have all that there because, like you said, it's censored. It is hard to find. Finding a proof video is like impossible with a typical YouTube search. The government made a mandated ban, or not really just ban, but censorship. They made censorship mandatory for YouTube, and that's all of the Google platforms.
And they use Flat Earth as their example in the congressional hearing. They use Flat Earth as their example. And again, I think all of this is by design. They literally mock us. They let us know that they know. There's a thing called revelation of the method. And I believe that the elite believe, and it's probably true, but I don't know where that line is drawn, where they always have to tell us what they're doing. They always have to tell us so they don't have bad karma. They tell us what we're doing. And if we're too blind and dumb and don't use our God-given senses, we were given God-given senses. If we don't use them, then they're like, well, that's on you, right? And they can control us. If you play on their ball field, the ball, you have to play by their ball field rules. Someone said, did you know that NASA thinks that the Earth is pear-shaped? So that was Neil deGrasse Tyson explaining that, below the equator, the Earth is a little chubby, like a pear, right? But then they're like, oh, it's so little that you would never notice it from the photos from the space station, right? The reason he mentioned that is because in the South, distances seem to be a lot longer. Like it's windier in the South. It's just known fact that it's windier in the South. But sailboats sailing in the South, all of the records for distances are in the North. Again, that's because GPS, which is run by NASA, so the only way to really measure distance over water is with GPS. And GPS is run by NASA. We all should know that NASA is part of the deception. I think NASA is the head intelligence agency of the world. They're in charge of all of the intelligence agencies. That's my opinion. Yeah. So all of the world record sailboat distances happen in the North makes no sense. It makes no sense at all.
That does not make sense because, like you said, the fastest winds are in the South by far.
Yep.
Like it's based on where the portals of the heavens are. According to Enoch, we learned last year that the winds would come from the south, and that's why you see hurricanes will go really close to the North Pole. They won't go anywhere near the South Pole. They're like way further away. They never even get a fraction of the distance of the one in the north. It's crazy how there's such a discrepancy there when it should, again, 50-50 on the globe. Biblical Earth weather makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
There we go. Isaac.
I want to show you an observation I made after Isaac goes. I want to show you a great proof for seasons. Good.
You guys Isaac. Go ahead. I think it was the Zafkis, or I'm sorry. Did Leah and Alyssa, did you guys ask questions yet? You had a question or anything to share, or did y'all just want to?
Oh, that was my question.
Okay. All right. Well, let me see if I can bring you guys out. There we go. And then we was Britton, Lydia, and Zafki. Do you guys have any more questions?
Could I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. How big do you think is the realm we live in?
That's a great question. And the answer is, I don't know, because all the governments in the world agree that no one is allowed to explore beyond 30 degrees south. I mean, 60 degrees south, right? So if this is our pond, this orange line here, you make me big. This orange line here, a pink line, is, let's just say that's 60 degrees south. No one's allowed to explore out here. So the question is, what is out here? Now, biblically, a lot of biblical flat earthers say, well, the dome is here and that's it. And there's nothing else out there. Josh, can you tell me where God said the dome connects to the earth?
The one book that I found, it's in the King James. 2 Esdras is what it's called in the original 1611 King James, and in the fourth, it's called the fourth book of Ezra by some. But that book is no longer in the Word, and that's the one Columbus used to get him approval to sell to the known world, the new world, you call it. But yeah, it says it was founded on the waters. That was all it said. So he knew they weren't going to fall off of an edge.
So
but it didn't say. It just said the world's divided into 7 parts, 6 parts land, 1 part water, and so that gives you an extra continent that wasn't on their bogus globes back then. And so he was like, we've only got 5 continents. What's going on here? So there's got to be more land. And so that 7th part of land would be Antarctica, and how far it goes, no one's
we
measured.
don't know. What if it goes 1,000,000 miles past 60 degrees south, 1,000,000 miles in all directions? And that's where the dome connects to the earth, if there is a dome. All right. Yeah. We don't know. And I love speculating about, what's out there. Like if this is Antarctica, this ring is Antarctica. Well, this is extra territory beyond here. What if the dome connects out here? Right. This is unknown lands that we don't know about. Right. So extra terra, extra land, extraterrestrials from where? The outer space out here. Right. So maybe they are telling us the truth about aliens from outer space, extraterrestrials, but they're here just a day trip away on a conventional aircraft. Close by. That's not biblical. We don't know. They took our map, they cut it out, they wrapped it around a ball and said, we're not allowed to explore this white area here. We're not allowed to explore here. They'll take us to this little tip. They'll show us some penguins. Right. Imagine if they did that with Australia. They just cut Australia out. And they wrapped it around a ball and they taught all the kids in Australia that's the whole earth. No one in Australia would know about Africa, South America, America. They wouldn't know about any of it. Yeah. So again, when you want to teach someone about flat earth, you don't start talking about more lands first, but it is a place you can go to speculate. We're allowed to speculate, but we don't need to speculate. The earth is scientifically provably flat from where we stand.
Thank you, Dave.
You got it.
Could I ask just a few more?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll be quick and we'll let the others go.
What do you think the moon is made out of?
Cheese. My first answer, which is the most positive about, is I don't know. But a lot of people say it's plasma. I don't know what the moon's made out of. I don't even know if the moon that we see is anything more than just a light, a projection, in the sky. So I think that the moon and the sun have to do with the delivery and removal of souls from this realm, from the heavens above to the physical reality that we experience down here. But again, the only thing truthfully we can say about any of the celestial bodies we see in the sky, the only thing that we can say is that they're lights. That's it.
Yeah.
We can speculate all day long. We can speculate on their shapes. We can speculate on their distances, size, makeups, but we don't know. And neither do Globers. Their explanations are just impossible.
It's a rock. There you go. Move on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You got it.
And then Isaac was it Isaac that was next, or Lydia? I think maybe. Whichever one wants to go, you guys can go if you have a question.
We would go next if no one else.
Go ahead. Those Zafke brothers are here.
Yeah.
What's up, guys?
So, what do you guys think about the last experiment. Do you guys think the final experiment? Do you guys think the sun, a 24-hour sun, is true in Antarctica?
Yeah. So I'll give you my quick response to this. First, that's called neuro-linguistic programming. Final and experiment, right? So your mind stores that, okay, that's what it's called. You're going to store this as it's the final and it's an experiment. It's neither of those things. It's not final and it's not an experiment. Through all of history, no university, no scholars anywhere have ever filmed the 24-hour sun in Antarctica. Now, the question is there a 24-hour sun in Antarctica? Well, it took a guy that says he's a preacher, and we can prove that he's not, a guy that says he's honest when he admits in his fake sermons that lying is okay, and he's also under indictment for financial fraud and being sued for millions of dollars and is facing a lot of time in jail. And all he cares about is settling the flat earth debate, which he said he just learned about 2 or 3 years earlier, when that's a lie, because he was running a radio show for an anti-flat earth radio host. He was the operations guy for like 10 years. So he's a liar, and he's the first one that brings some YouTubers down to Antarctica and films the 24-hour sun. The videos that they brought back have lots of anomalies. We do have several models that would show a 24-hour sun in the sky, and especially when you understand when the sun is a apparent sun, we see a sun in an apparent position. It's possible it could do lots of different things, and we've modeled it where you can. Personally, I do not think there's a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. Well, when the flat Earth movement was going on, we're all saying there's no 24-hour sun in Antarctica. I actually said a 24-hour sun in Antarctica would prove the Earth is a globe, but that's actually a false statement. It would be interesting, and it would tell us how much we know about the sky, but I don't believe there is a 24-hour sun. So we pointed that out, and in 2017, 4 fake videos came out. Now, the reason we're saying they're fake is because they're fake, right? They're provably faked videos of the sun. So why do you have to fake something if it's real? No one's ever filmed the sun before except these guys, and no one has filmed it ever since. So that's fascinating. So again, if you guys all know the moon missions were fake, I hope so. That's a big operation. Why did they fake the moon landings? To hide God, literally to keep us on the ball. So this operation is just like a more modern moon landing. It's another operation to try to derail people from seeing the truth of this world, because the globe lie is the foundation of all the lies that happen. Everything that the governments get away from is because people are lost in space, spinning out of control, disconnected from God, dizzy, confused, lost, and scared. And that's not the world that God intended us to live in. So my answer is, I don't believe there's a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. And that trip was actually designed specifically for me, because I was waking up too many people with this app and the amount of interviews I'm doing. So they literally designed it to destroy me. But I feel that I have a good sense. I can sense good people just before they open their mouth. And when I got that first email from the guy that's running it, without saying any names, I sensed evil on such a level. And I had one communication with him, and I said, I don't deal with demons. Don't ever contact me again. And that was it. And so they tried for almost a year to get me to go. They tried to pressure me from every angle, right? And I just said, I don't deal with demons. And it was a trap. It was a trick. It was a David Blaine trick. I don't know exactly how they did it, but we've speculated a bunch of ways. One way they might have done it is with technology. Now, in the models of the circling sun in Antarctica, I think if it did circle, it wouldn't look like the sun. It wouldn't be as bright. It would be more faint. And so Microsoft has disclosed technology where they can beam a plasma ball into thin air. They don't even need mist or a surface to put it on. And one of the theories is that they literally projected a fake sun circling around those guys. And if you look at the Bible, not the Bible, the encyclopedia, it says that the dome in Antarctica is like at 13,000 feet. And the dome, if it's biblically, it's made of crystal, like a liquid crystal. Hey, what are your TVs made out of? Liquid crystal displays. They could have projected it onto that. It could be very convincing. However, I don't know if that's true. I don't know if any of it's true, but we recreated it. We made it look like a sun, and like that's interesting. Here's the funny thing. And again, I'm not sure about this, but if they were going to fake something like that, the number one guy in the world is a guy that works at Microsoft, one of the top guys at Microsoft. He would be the one that you would want to run this operation. And guess where he was during TFE, which I call the failed experiment? He was in Antarctica. Weird. Wow. Doesn't prove anything. Doesn't prove anything other than there are so many ifs and major issues with this. Listen, if you were under federal charges, being sued for millions of dollars, and could spend many years in jail, what would you be focusing on? Settling the flat earth debate or staying out of jail?
True.
None of it makes any sense. And that's one way. Listen, let's say you're in a situation where they come to you and say, hey, you're going to jail for the rest of your life. You can lose everything. Your wife's going to be homeless. Actually, she's an accomplice. She's going to jail too. Or we got a deal for you. You're going to do this little stunt. You're going to do this thing. We're going to do this and that. And then we'll make that all go away. And if you ever tell anybody, we'll open the book again and you go to jail. He'll never tell anybody. He'll agree. I'm not even going to ask you, Josh, what would you do in that situation? Because you'd never be in that situation. Only evil people will get into a situation like that.
Yeah. And I just saw a video. I don't know if you've seen it, where a man was trying to use, I think, Starlink in Antarctica.
Yep.
And he got his device taken away. They said, you're not allowed to do that. Not anywhere in Antarctica. And I'm like, wait a minute, they were using that same concept before. And he says, no, you're not allowed to do that anywhere. And I'm like, wow, what is the deal? Did they break their own treaty just to allow them to do that? Because
it's so, if you really get into it, and here's the thing, it's easier to believe that they proved the circling sun in Antarctica than to look at the evidence. It's a lot. Yeah. Marty Leeds and I did a couple videos on it in depth. Spacebusters did an awesome 3-part series called Scam-Arctica. The problem is each one of those is 2 hours long and the third one's 3 hours long. Are you guys going to spend that much time studying this, or you just want to believe? Belief is the lazy man's knowing. It's easier to believe something than to know the truth. I'm all about knowing the truth. I know when I don't know something, and I know that we don't live on a ball. That's a fact.
Yeah.
There you go.
Did anybody else have a question? Isaac, I know you came in earlier. Did you guys have a question? You or Amber?
I'd like to ask, do you have any idea why the moon turns red on lunar eclipse?
In the app on the eclipses section, there is one of our guys, Joe Hanvey, who showed how the sun could circle in Antarctica. He also showed how a red eclipse happens, and it has to do with the polarity of the light. It's more than I can explain, but he literally made a model, tried to show something else, and the moon turned red. It was amazing. Oh, wow. And there's a bunch of biblical models that show like a red or crystal or something in the center. I forget exactly, but it's fascinating. But shadows don't turn red. The heliocentric explanation for the lunar eclipse, the blood moon, make no sense. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. And there's explanations for it on a flat earth. So check out the eclipses section there. Again, that's why I made the app, because I can't, you need to see visuals on many of these things. I do many audio interviews, but most of my interviews are multi, I'm showing all sorts of stuff, but that's a great one. There's a great video in there. I think it'd be easy to find. I think it's called like the blood moon or something like that.
Awesome. Good question, Isaac. Lydia, did you have a question?
Yeah, I do.
Go ahead.
Okay, I was wondering, is there a way to prove, I know that the world is flat, and
But is there like a way to like prove about like the eclipses, like to prove like for biblical people?
Well, I mean,
they are.
Well, we can prove what they're not. We can, when someone has a story about something, we can disprove something, and then the statement is falsification. When you falsify something, is independent of replacement. So this morning, I'm in Mexico, and I have really good chocolate chip cookies, and the last cookie was missing, and I think Josh took it. I'm pretty sure Josh took it. Okay.
Oh no.
And I'm blaming Josh for taking my cookie now. Until you can tell me who took the cookie, Josh, I'm blaming you. So the point of that is we can pretty much falsify it. I'm in Mexico. He's not. He can prove it. He can show me that he went to the coffee shop this morning and he did this and he did that. And we can prove it. Well, I can't say, prove it. I don't know who took the cookie, but we can prove it wasn't Josh. So again, looking up in the sky, we're speculating. When somebody comes to, put carpeting in your house, they don't measure the ceiling. They don't look up, and they look down. You look down at the floor. We're going to measure the floor, and it is flat.
It's a great one. Yeah. That's the way I thought of it with the final experiment. If you hired surveyors to see if your floor was level and they came in and stared at your ceiling fan and left, would you pay them for leveling your floor if they were just staring at the ceiling fan going, yep, it's spinning. Your house it's level, but it's rotating. Like you would be like, no. I need to find an expert because they did no flat line experiments, and you have the driest air in the world. You can shine a laser probably further than anywhere in the world if you are out there, reflect sunlight with a mirror and do long distance things. And nobody's ever done those tests there. And that's what's mind blowing.
So I called it the failed experiment, but here's an experiment that would do it. So you guys all know that gyros hold rigidity in space, right? Gyros, like you got a gyro, you spin it up on the runway, it's level with the earth, and here's the airplane. When the airplane turns, it turns and the gyro stays steady, up or down. So they know where their horizon is, and that's how a gyro works, okay? So if I went down this hallway with a gyro, it's gonna stay level with the floor. And if I turn around the corner, it's not gonna turn. It's gonna just stay level to its position, right? So if you spin a gyro up sideways, I can walk down the hallway and it'll line up with the hallway. But when I take a left at the end of the hallway, the gyro is not going to go like that. I'm going to take a left and the gyro is just going to move in a straight position. It's going to stay in this orientation to this hallway. So when I'm going left at the end of the hallway or right, the gyro is not going to turn. It's going to stay perpendicular or parallel with this one. You guys all understand that, right? Wow. So on a ball, we have north at the center, the top, south at the center bottom, east and west are these directions. But east and west are not circles, are not straight lines. They're circles on a ball. So this is the only one. This is a circle, but you wouldn't have to turn. On all of these other ones, you'd have to turn. So let me show you. North and south are straight lines. Okay, the all north and south lines are great circles, but those are longitude circles. They're all great circles. A great circle is a circle all the way around the ball. The latitude lines, east and west, are not great circles. Only the equator is a great circle. So if I had an airplane here, north is up to here, so west is perpendicular 90 degrees to north. So as I move, that plane has to constantly turn to the right to maintain a heading of west. Imagine this is a compass and the wing is a needle and the wing is pointing north. West would be in this direction, circling to the right. You guys all follow that? Yeah. Right? In the south, I'd have to turn to the left, not to the right. South of the equator, I'd have to adjust to the left to maintain my distance from the South Pole and to maintain a heading of west. You with me?
That is interesting.
Yeah. So now we're going to look at it on a flat Earth map. So I got a plane in the south and a plane in the north. Now remember, a plane in the south has to correct to the left. But when they turn, they both turn to the right. Now here's the interesting part. There's many reports from Navy ship captains that when they're trying to dead reckon west in the Southern Ocean or east, they always have to correct to the north. None of them ever correct to the south.
Wow.
They always turn to the north. That's a flat Earth.
That is a huge point right there. We got to add that to the circumnavigation unit.
So here's another one. So we got 2 planes in South America, and we fly to Antarctica, and they land. We go, okay, we're in Antarctica. Everybody had their compasses. Yep, we're definitely in Antarctica. And then at the same time, they both take off, right? They tell us the circumference of Antarctica is 10,000 miles. So 5,000 miles will bring them over here. 5,000 miles will bring them over here, right? So 500 miles per hour, it's going to take each plane 10 hours to meet over there. Does that prove the Earth is a ball?
Not really.
Well, if they did it in 10 hours,
that
goes against the Gleason's map, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the Gleason's map is like 60,000 miles, right? So the trick is then you have to take one or both of those planes and go to Australia, right? And that, so looking at it on a flat Earth map, we got 2 planes here. Nothing has changed from what we were showing you before. They go to Antarctica, and it's 68,000 miles, we're guessing, because of Captain Cook's charts, right? And it would take, at 500 miles an hour, it would take 68 hours to go halfway around. That's a big difference, right? 10 hours or 68 hours. Wow. So the planes would fly all the way around. Now, we couldn't do it. It's just not going to happen, right? But that, we then have to fly to Australia, right? Because they could have been where they went from South America out here, and they said, okay, you're in Antarctica, and then they flew around Antarctica, and they met on the other side. Then you're just showing that, well, it could be at the bottom of a ball, or it could just be another continent. It's only when you finish the trip to go to Australia, because on a globe Earth, you have to finish the trip and go to Australia, because on a globe Earth, let me just go back. It could be something like this. There could just be a continent. And they say, this is Antarctica, a continent off of here, and you go around it, and they're gonna claim victory. That's not victory. You'd have to end up in Australia. This isn't the exact map I wanted, but you'd have to end up over here, and you can't do it. You follow that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I also have another question.
Okay.
What do you think the eclipses are? Like, we know what the globers say it is, but what do you think it is?
Which one, the solar or the lunar eclipse?
The lunar.
What do I think is causing it, or what do I think it does?
Oh, what do you think is causing it? What do you think is causing the lunar eclipse from a biblical perspective?
I don't know.
Yeah. We demonstrate it. You can use kind of like the surface of water when it's flat, or even a transparent barrier with a light source shining across to it will produce a similar, with the shadows, even though it's not using a sphere like Dave was using earlier, it's using a curved line, and it'll make a really cool shadow that looks exactly like.
But so there could be a dark body up there. It could just be a powering down of the moonlight. Angels of Light, who a guy I do some TikTok lives with, he's really good, and he had a P1000 and a P900 IR converted. So it shows infrared, and during the eclipse, when the shadow was on the moon, the infrared one didn't see a shadow.
Oh,
so
wow.
I don't know when infrared started removing shadows. So it's something else. It's something else. I don't think it's a shadow. When people say the craters on the moon, the shadows of the moon, I think those are the wrong terms. I don't think they're craters. I don't think they're shadows. I don't think the moon, I know the moon isn't reflecting sunlight. So think about this. I'm just type in moon here. And here we have a rock. I'm standing right next to this rock. It's noon. The sun is in the sky. That rock should be blinding me, reflecting light. Because if this is a dusty, dirty ball and it's 250,000 miles away, light gets dimmer and dimmer with the inverse square law as the farther it goes. So how come this is so bright and this one isn't so bright? We're the same distance from the sun, essentially. I'm right next to this light. If the inverse square law is true, which it is, and this is the moon, and from Earth, let's just say it's 1 lumen. By the time you were 100 miles from the moon, it would be 60,000 times brighter than the sun. Something so stupid, you can't even fathom what twice the brightness of the sun is. That's how bright it would need to be for us to see that this brightness from Earth. Again, if you do the math, it doesn't math.
Exactly. Yeah. Never looked at a piece of gravel in the sunlight and thought, man, that could light up my backyard.
Yeah, where's the light that's coming off of this? Where's this is arguably more reflective because it's kind of smooth. The moon is dusty, right? Kind of.
Yeah.
It's so. The heliocentric model is so horrible that people just don't want to admit that they believed it. Why is the moon lighting up these clouds and not these clouds?
Good question.
Yeah.
Reminds me of a local flashlight shining.
Put a bunch of cotton balls all over your floor and turn on the ceiling light, or hold a flashlight all the way up at the ceiling. Is it going to light up just these, or is it going to light them all up?
It's going to light them all up.
And there's also a light. Put a rock on the ceiling. We shine a light on it and see if it lights up any of the cotton balls on the floor. That's why I have the shirt. You're not stupid. It's stupid. Okay.
Wow.
People are like, I don't know. I don't have a degree. And by the way, Josh is self-taught. He is a autodidactic teacher, right? People say, well, where did you get your teaching degree? You know how you get your teaching degree? You guys can all become teachers. Go to public school, memorize what's ever in the books, write it all down perfectly, and you'll get straight A's and you could become a teacher. Isn't that sad?
Yeah.
Yep. I started my first day in the classroom holding a globe, teaching the Coriolis effect, because that was the lesson we were on when I took over. And I was like, this doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but I'm going to teach it because that's what I was taught, and this is what they're telling me to say. And
I was taught here's a funny, interesting thing. God is very amazing. My earliest school memory, first grade, it might have even been kindergarten. My earliest school memory, teacher brought us outside to teach us about gravity, had a bucket of water with a rope and swung it around and showed how the water stayed inside the bucket. And I went to the teacher. I said, and he had a globe out there. I said, isn't the water on the outside of the globe? Don't you have to turn the bucket around the other way? And the teacher goes like this. And he goes over and gets the book and he shows me the highlighted area of the paragraph. And he goes, this is how they're telling me to teach it, so that's how I'm going to teach it.
wow.
Oh.
And then I went and played on the swing and didn't care. Okay. And I think from that point forward, I think that something scarred me. I was like, I don't trust any of this nonsense.
Wow.
I even remember what swing I swung on. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So that was, that's one experience I remember. The other one is the Young Life experience I told you earlier, where the stars fell to the earth. Right. So they're teaching me nonsense in school. They're teaching the Bible's nonsense. That's what I was taught. And that's what it showed me, because they taught me that, I was very scientific. I took 4 years of astronomy in college. I was really good at it. It's all nonsense. None of it's real. I was really good at something that's not real.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go. Awesome. We got more people joining. So
Go ahead. Who's next?
What was that? Who was next? Noah, Sadie, and then Lauren and Austin. So if Noah's ready, if not, we can move on to Lauren. Go ahead, Lauren. Oh no, there's Noah. We got Noah. He's got sound.
Yeah, I was wondering how meteor showers happen, how that phenomenon happens.
Yeah, I could tell you how they don't happen. So, if you could mute, there's some background noise going on there. If you can mute yourself.
Oh, does somebody have a video? If you have the YouTube video playing, it might echo. So you may need to mute the YouTube video.
Whoops. Hold on a second. So meteor showers. Hold on. So if the Earth was a ball, meteors, if I'm watching a meteor shower looking over my western horizon or whatever, and I see these meteors going down, somebody in the southern hemisphere can watch that same meteor shower and they would be going up. Do you know what I'm saying? If the meteors are coming down like this and I'm looking at these meteors here, somebody here is going to be, they're going to be going up for them. They're going to come up from the horizon. Do you understand that? They'd be going like this. So all people on the southern hemisphere here are seeing the meteors go down, but anyone that's looking from the northern hemisphere is seeing those meteors go up. No one's ever seen a meteor go up. But what are they? We've seen meteors. We've seen meteors. What is this one? Oh yeah. So we've seen meteors come in. Someone always catches it on a dash cam in Russia, and then it blows up a building. But you've never actually seen one in all of history. No one has ever filmed a meteor hitting the ground, right? But this was caught in Nevada in a test area where they're shooting these things, fireworks, from airplanes. And you put that in the dark. This was supposedly a real meteor shower, and this is the planes just shooting them. And it looks exactly the same.
Yeah, the Zafke brothers that were down there, they actually sent me footage of something at night that looked just like that. And usually they'll say, "Oh, it was SpaceX or this and that," and it happened again after that in that same general area. And there was they couldn't find a cause or a source.
Right. So then we the big craters on Earth, and they're all perfect circles, right? Were those meteors coming in at a 90-degree angle to the ground, or they were coming in parallel to the ground, right? So they wouldn't leave a perfect 90-degree impact. And when you compare a volcano, a geyser, a sulfur pocket, a sinkhole, they all look like meteors. They come from within the Earth. What is this one? I haven't seen this one. Oh yeah, so this was caught from a Russian, from a dash cam, right? So that's all we see. This thing come in like that, and then supposedly it made a big explosion and knocked out some windows. It was a big story. Again, that's just to make you believe you live on a ball and to be scared. A meteor is going to take us out. A comet's going to take us out, and it's just. Why do they always come in at that angle? They never come in straight down, but all of the impacts look like this. There's never a meteor in there. So what is this? Well, you know how many of these big craters there are on Earth, Josh?
Probably 7.
200.
200? Wow.
What does the Bible say 200 fell from the sky?
Ooh. The fallen came down. Wow.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Just a coincidence, maybe.
Another coincidence.
Yep. Here's a meteor versus a geyser. This is They tell us this is a meteor crater. This is a geyser. Meteor crater, geyser. Meteor crater, geyser.
Wow. Pressures from below causing these known causes.
They tell us this fell in a farmer's field, this thing, at 15,000 miles per hour. And it just went boop, boink, like a dart. Okay.
That's crazy. I've never seen that one.
Yeah, it's so bad. It's so bad. So when we see like the Perseus meteor shower, right? The Perseus meteor shower, that's the third week in August every year, right? Third week of August every year. We go out. I used to love watching. We see these little things shooting in the sky. They all either look like they're going across or down. They never come up from the horizon. That's strike number one. Do you know what the heliocentric explanation is for why we have a meteor shower? Anybody, Josh? Do you know?
We're flying through rocks, and they're in our path, right?
Well,
and
they say that a dusty, dirty comet had flown by and left a wake of debris, sand-sized debris. And when the Earth passes through that sand-sized debris, that's what the meteors are, right? Mm-hmm. You with me?
Yeah.
But here's the problem. We're corkscrewing through space, traveling 4.5 billion miles a year, never to return to where we were before. How is that meteor dust exhaust path following us?
Yeah.
So every time the third week in August, we go through it.
Wow.
It's traveling at the same speed, Josh, and it just keeps up with us. Everything's relative, right? The heliocentric globe model has excuses and acrobatics you need to do to prove it. The flat Earth the sun and the moon look like they're the same size because they're the same size. That's it. Right? Meteors don't shoot up from the ground because the Earth is flat. We see too far because the Earth is flat, not because of magical refraction.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That was a good point. Yeah, everything is 500,000 miles per hour circling around. But it's mathematical, they say. We somehow cross into it every year. And these things are predictable. So that's a really good question. So you're definitely proving what they're not. And they look like they're coming from something solid. And they look like electrical sparks to me. So knowing
absolutely
lightning sprites and large, powerful burst of energy, because there's a barrier, the electric energy gets higher as you go upwards. It would make sense that those electric properties.
Here's the experiment you guys can do. Let's talk about electrostatics and gravity, because that's a big one people throw at you. But I want to show you this picture. This picture was taken by photographers that are not flat earthers. And it's from Pisa to Monteviso. And it's they wanted to capture this mountain on a certain day of the year when the sun lines up with it. So the camera height was 1313. Target distance was 183.9 miles. And the hidden height, according to the Earth Curve Calculator, from that altitude at that distance is 12,978 feet. Well, the elevation of this mountain is 12,600 feet. So the top of this mountain should be 376 feet below the horizon, but we can see almost the whole mountain.
Bendy, magical.
The globe explanation is, well, the sun has already set. The mountain is below the Earth curve. The sun is refracting up, pretending that it didn't see, and the mountain that has no light on the backside of it is refracting up and blocking the refracted sun. Flat Earth explanation. Mountain. It's right there. Look, Globers will say refraction. Well, things do distort and obfuscate and disappear into the thickness of the atmosphere. One time, my wife and daughter were walking down the beach. We were down in the Caribbean, and they're about 1.5 miles from me. And I had my P1000, and the beach was curving out. I had a good shot of them, and I zoomed in on them, and they looked like genies. They were like morphing and just like, it was crazy, right? But if I put a 10-foot high brick wall anywhere in between me and them, I would never see them, no matter what. So there's no refracting unless you have line of sight. If you walk around a corner of a building, you're not going to refract out so somebody sees you around outside of that corner. If we're outside and you duck behind a hill, no matter what the weather does, you're not going to refract up above that hill so I can see you. But Globers want you to think it happens all the time.
When it's Earth curve only.
Yeah, let me show you one more on that, and then we'll talk about gravity. Is that you guys don't want to talk about gravity?
Oh no, that's fine. We still haven't done that unit yet, so that'd be good.
Oh really? Okay, that's a good one. I'm trying to find my. Where did it go? Oh, where is it? It must be somewhere else. Oh, here it is. Got it. All right. So large bodies of water at rest lie flat. When you say to a globe believer, water always lies flat, they'll go, a drop of water is a sphere. Therefore, the earth is a sphere. So the proper way to say it is anything over 4 millimeters deep of water lies flat. Large bodies of water at rest lie flat. What about waves? Waves are not at rest. Lie flat. Here's a lake, canal, a lake, whatever you want to call it, in the winter. And when it's lie flat and it gets cold, it freezes flat. So on the lake, there's a whole video on this, so we've documented it for you. Again, don't believe anything anybody tells you. Verify it, right? 6 inches off the lake. So we got these 4 lights out here, a foot off the lake. And it's 8 miles, 7 miles, 6 miles, and 5 miles. Now, that doesn't sound much because Bill Nye, the lion guy with the bow tie, says the earth is so big, you're just a microbe on it. You wouldn't know. But according to their earth curve calculator, the horizon should be less than a mile away. And these lights should be with a ridiculous amount of refraction added just to help the globe out. Because I love helping the globe out because they need all the help they can get. This one will be 30 feet below the horizon, 22, 15, and 9 feet below the horizon. But for some reason, they're refracting up and stopping right at eye level. They're just stopping right here. Now, why wouldn't it refract up higher and be floating in the sky, or a little lower and just be hidden behind the curve? They just stop to make you think the earth is flat. Because refraction does that. It wants to trick you. So we have 2 explanations. Flat earth explanation. Camera. Lights. Flat ice. Globe explanation. Camera. Less than a mile away is the tangent of the earth. And this one's refracting up that much. This one's refracting up more and more and more, and they only refract up to this line to trick you to think that they're sitting on this tangent.
Wow.
Lights on a flat surface or magic.
Yeah, I don't think a magician could pull that off. That would be really a challenge to refract them all evenly to match the 0.666 feet per mile squared curvature. Wow.
I think we're living in a big test, Josh. I think they're testing us to make sure that God gave us all of these incredible abilities, and they're all here for us to use. And some form of evil is trying to hide them from us, but it's up to us whether we allow them to or not.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Oh, oops.
What else we got?
All right. I want to show you this real quick. Look at Noah's background. This is his photo. He actually took that photo.
You took that?
Sails.
Nice.
Yeah. Really
nice.
Nice.
If the Earth is, so we're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, we're orbiting at 66,000, we're chasing the sun at 500,000, and that's going around another direction. All of the other stars are moving in their own directions, but we get perfect circles. Perfect circles. It makes no sense. Something else I want to say. Here's an empty claim. Well, in the north, the stars rotate counterclockwise. In the south, they rotate clockwise. Have you guys heard that one?
Yeah.
A glober will tell you that proves the Earth is a globe. Well, it's not true. It doesn't, I would say it's not exclusive to either. In the north, if you face north, the stars will rotate counterclockwise. If you turn around and face south, they're rotating clockwise. They're coming from the same side. And in the south, if you face south, they rotate clockwise. And if you turn around and face north, they rotate counterclockwise. It doesn't matter where you are on the earth. They rotate in the same direction. But globers will say they rotate in different directions, and that proves the globe. And people go, oh, okay, Earth must be a globe, because they're not using their God-given senses. And that's what Josh's class does here. He's teaching you guys to use your senses. You guys are going to have great lives ahead of you if the adults don't screw up this place for you. And because you're going to know how to think. Kids that go to public school know how to memorize and repeat. You guys know how to think.
Yeah, and they are coming up with a lot of really good questions, experiments, answers, doing their own research. It's amazing to see them proving it, because that's what they do. They don't just believe me. That's one thing we try to make sure. Don't believe me. I could be wrong. Put it to the test. And that's what they have been doing.
So when you tell someone the earth is flat, they go, gravity, right? They're just going to scream gravity, and they're going to drop their iPhone and catch it and say gravity. Right.
Yeah.
So that's what they want you to do. The other thing is, well, let's do gravity before we do the air. So here we have this. There's some. This is I'm going to teach you about electrostatics. So everything has an electrostatic charge. The ground has a neutral or negative charge, and the sky is a positive charge. Anything above the ground is surrounded with that positive charge. And I don't know if you were taught, negative and positive attract each other. If the ground's not moving, anything positive will be attracted down. So this guy's electrostatic, he has a neutrally buoyant balloon, and just by holding his hands near it, it'll attract it to it, because he has an opposite charge that the balloon has. So he's moving around, and just the electrostatic charge of his body will pull the balloon around. Pretty cool, right?
That is cool.
Yeah. And
The
so
guy has his own gravity.
yeah, well, no, it's electrostatic. That just proved electrostatics. This is called a Franklin bell. And so you put a drone up, and we have a very thin copper wire connected to this little contraption. And then the red wire goes to the drone, and the yellow wire goes into the ground. So when he charges it up, that little thing will go back and forth, and every time it touches, it just discharges, so it's pulling back and forth. So electrostatics is pulling this. Turn it sideways, you can call that gravity, right? Because it's going to pull it down and up, right? Because it's getting this energy from the air. There's an electrostatic flow into the earth, not a theory, a testable, repeatable, provable, real experiment, right? So where are we going? So here we go. We have some leftover party balloons, helium balloons. And this is a button right here. And it's about 2 inches off the floor, neutrally buoyant. That wire is connected to something that's called a Van de Graaff generator. All right. I'm just going to pause it for a second. So it's neutrally buoyant. It's just sitting there. It's 2 inches above the floor. The balloons are holding it up, and gravity, or electrostatics, is pulling it down. Well, gravity is just a theory. It's never been proven. Never, ever. No experiment has ever isolated and experimented and proven gravity. It's just a theory that they need. So this wire goes to a Van de Graaff generator, and we can charge this button, not change its weight. We're just going to make it a higher positive charge. And when we add a positive charge, it goes down. So it's more positive. It's being attracted to the negative earth. And when we discharge it, it goes back up. Did we manipulate gravity, or did we manipulate electrostatics?
Wow.
right? Here's a triangle. We put negative into it. It goes up, turn it off. It goes down, turn it back on. It goes up. Are we manipulating gravity, or are we manipulating electrostatics? When we're manipulating electrostatics, MIT created a thing called the silent drone. This thing right here. It's got no moving parts, no propellers, nothing. It's just using electrostatics to fly, and it's probably pulling the energy out of thin air because there's a ton of energy in the air. Imagine if you had this technology at your hands, you could have flying cars. Right? We could have, there's aircraft that fly using electrostatics for lift and propulsion silently. The military admits the XRT-3B triangle aircraft, that's how it lifts it. Right? After that, buoyancy and density sort everything else out. So if I had a handful of rocks, ping pong balls, and a helium balloon, I held it over a pool and I opened my hand. The helium balloon would go up because it's less dense than the air. The rocks and ping pong balls would go down because they're more dense than the air. The rocks would go to the bottom of the pool because they're more dense than the water. And the ping pong balls would stay on the top of the pool because they're more dense than water. Why did they go down? Because there's an electrostatic flow, right? So there's some flat earthers out there trying to figure this out. They will say, well, it's just buoyancy and density. But I don't buy that. And I could be wrong. But I don't buy that because if I had something, let's say I had a rock, and I snapped my fingers and the entire earth disappeared. So now it's just me and infinite space. And I let the rock go. Which way would down be? So there is a testable, measurable electrostatic flow down. We can manipulate it. We can make things go up and down. We can make things go up and down. And there's no experiment that's ever tested gravity. So those are pretty detrimental to the globe story, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Holds it all together coming from 1666.
Yeah.
Holding it all together. That is amazing to me, especially we just studied tides and we're finding out that not only is could we curve water, because you can get a static filled a balloon that gets a charge and put it near water and the water will curve a small stream of water.
It's electrostatics. Everything is electrostatic. So check this out. Electrostatics is provable. We can make things go up and down. They say that gravity is a weak force. Cool. They say that is the globalists, say that electrostatics, guys, follow this. One thing that they don't teach you is the law of large numbers. They say that electrostatics is 10 to the 36 power stronger than gravity. 10 to the 30. That's 10 with 36 zeros. Here, take me out of the big screen.
Oh, wow.
10 with 36 zeros. I want to ask you guys a question. I want to hear your answers, right? So how big is 10 to the 36? First, do you guys know how long 1 trillion seconds is? No Googling. How long is 1 trillion seconds?
No idea.
Take a guess. If you guess it within 3 days, I'll give you $100. Quick guess. Go ahead. No Googling.
40 minutes.
40 minutes is 1 trillion seconds?
5 days. No.
All right.
2 days.
Close. Anybody else?
A day and 30 minutes.
31,000 years. Okay. So 1 trillion seconds is 31,000 years. A trillion is 12 or 15 zeros, whatever it is. All right. 10 to the 36 stronger than gravity. I'm going to ask you another question. Maybe you'll get this one. If I had a grain of sand and I made it 10 to the 36 times bigger, 10 to the 36 power bigger, Josh, what would you compare that grain of sand to?
The globe Earth model.
Okay. Close. It would be 10,000 times wider than the theorized universe.
Wow.
All right. That's 10 to the 36. Michio Kaku, the head of theoretical physics, says that science is off by 10 to the 120th power. All right. That number doesn't even exist. Right. When they say science is off, think about this, guys. Follow this. Let's say scientists can make 1 million mistakes every second. Okay. And they say the universe is 13.6 billion years old. Right. So 1 million mistakes a second for 13.6 billion years, you have to take that number of mistakes and multiply it by 10 to the 96. Okay. That's how far cosmology is off. They just throw this stuff out there to make your brains melt, because you and I, Josh, can't even understand those numbers, because those numbers don't even exist. They don't even exist. But they tell us this stuff. And if wait a minute, they're saying that, and you look at it. So 10 to the 36 stronger than gravity. So if we had a tug of war going between 100 million times every person on Earth pulling on one side and a flea pulling on the other, that's not even enough of a comparison to make it comparable to 10 to the 36, right? And so when you understand that, you could be like, they're full of it. It's just nonsense. And they're testing us. Are you going to use your God-given common sense?
Wow.
Anybody listening to this that has kids that either you're homeschooled or not homeschooled and you don't know about creation standard, you got to call Josh and you got to get your kids into this class, because you guys are the future of this world. You guys are the future, right? Those kids that are just lost in the sauce, they're not. They're going to be flipping burgers.
Yeah, they're going to have a hard time when the Prove All Things crew shows up and has a better understanding of where they live and why all the chaos is going on. And real quick, I think Austin said she had to go, but she had a question before she left, so I'll let Austin go ahead.
So my mom has been wondering, do you have any idea why you can sometimes not see the northern star from the southern hemisphere?
Sure. Very easy. Because stars are not billions and trillions of miles away. Stars are very close. We sent a balloon up in Arizona with high-def cameras looking up on a perfectly clear night, and we could see all the stars. It was amazing. And as the balloon goes up and higher, it's getting above all the thickest atmosphere. The stars should just get brighter and brighter. But when it hits 60, 70, 80,000 feet, all the stars were gone. Right? There's no explanation in the heliocentric model for that. So the reason that you can't see the North Star from most places in the South, although it has been seen as far as 30 degrees south, which rules out the globe again. But the reason is, here's an example. You and I are in a Home Depot. You ever been to a Home Depot? Yes?
Yep.
Home Depot, Walmart, whatever. And we're looking up at the ceiling, and there's lights, and they're all in random. There are random lights in the ceiling. And I say, hey, that looks like a horse, and that looks like a starfish, and that looks like a snake. And you're like, yeah, I see that. And then we expand that store to 20 miles wide. And you go walking down aisle 6. 20 minutes later, you're a mile and a half away from me. I can't even see you anymore. I call you on your cell phone, and I say, hey, look up at the lights. Can you see the snake, the starfish, the horse? And you're like, no, I see completely different lights. Does that mean that that store is a sphere, or does that just mean you're too far away from those lights above me to see them, and you see different lights? That's exactly how it works on a flat Earth.
That's a good analogy there, because we have to shrink stuff down. When they're light years away, yeah, you'd see it.
Right. And so let me just go back here. If I go to I think I showed this before, but I'll just go to perspective here again. PER. And a great one is streetlights, right? There are the streetlights. So let's say there's 20 streetlights to here. Can you see the 40th streetlight? No, it's long past your perspective. The road's straight. There's not enough curvature in 40 streetlights if the Earth was a globe, and you can't see the 40th streetlight. You can't even see the 20th one. It's the same thing with the sun, moon, and stars. When it gets out of your perspective, you cannot see it anymore. There you go.
Good visuals there. And again, yeah, we are in not only like the Home Depot or large warehouse scenario, we also are underwater, technically miles of it, miles of water that we're under, that will do some filtering of light as well with this vast expanse above us.
Yeah.
Great question, Austin. And then we had Lauren, I think Rebecca and Lauren had questions too. So whichever one can go first. Because I know he's running out of time here. I don't want to keep him too long. He has almost given us 2 hours of his valuable time.
We go to the top of the hour. How's that?
There you go.
I have the question of, what do you think the stars are made of?
Well, they tell us it's made out of helium and hydrogen, which defy gravity on Earth. But for some reason, the helium and hydrogen collapses upon itself in space, which it should expand, and creates a gravitational thing. I think the stars are angels. That's my personal opinion. I think they're sentient. I think they're absolutely amazing. I think that maybe that's where we live when we're not physically manifesting down here on Earth. I have some star pictures I want to show you real quick. There we go. So our optics, our cameras, our lenses have outgrown their lives. This is a star. What do you think that's made of?
Wow.
Well, it looks like it's through water.
It does look like it's in water, doesn't it? Look up star in a jar. Here's another one. And in Ezekiel, it says the angels are a wheel inside a wheel. Right? Does this one look like a wheel inside of a wheel?
Wow.
Impressively like it.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch like that. Let me see. This one's Arcturus. That one's a little different. But there's a whole bunch that look like wheels inside of wheels. Maybe this one. Yeah, these are all different ones. This one here.
Wow.
Don't know, but it's certainly not what they tell us it is.
Definitely not a ball of gas in a vacuum.
Yeah.
Never seen it do that.
Yep.
If you don't have a good Zoom camera, that is nice. Yeah, next question real quick. I don't want to go too long. Was it Lauren?
I was going to ask, what do you think the moon is made out of?
Well, again, we don't know. I think the moon that we see is just plasma. I think that the moon is responsible for the delivery and removal of human souls here on Earth. But don't ask me how.
Yeah. The book of Enoch gives some great descriptions of those lights. It's the one source I can find that talks about their paths, their gates, their prescribed paths.
Yep.
And it's like they have an obedience. They go, except for the ones that he said would actually, I think it's chapter 80 of Enoch says they're going to leave their orbital paths. It even used the word orbital in the book. It says they will leave their prescribed paths, and there's going to be a generation of sinners in the future, because he was talking before this happened. And he called them the chiefs of the stars, which I believe are the planets, what we now call planets. And he said, the generation's coming that's going to lose their understanding of what they are and take them to be gods. And now we take them to be named after all these false Roman gods, and Rome ruled the world. And so it's causing us to err. We now think they are not able to fall down, like Dave was saying in his childhood.
And orbits are not exclusive to a globe. These stars are orbiting over the Earth.
Yeah. Their own little orbits, and some have left, and they make these unique patterns that are predictable.
I wanted to show you seasons real quick.
Yeah, we gotta see that.
So we're told that the Earth is just tilted, and the little tilt is what's causing the seasons, right? That is absolutely ridiculous. So I'm in Mexico right here. tip of Mexico, and it was 90 degrees here. It was -10 in the Northeast. 100 degrees difference, right? This is only like 1,200 miles, 1,300 miles, something like that, even with the curve calculated in, right? So the sun would be over here somewhere on the globe. And so the Northeast is 0.00003% farther. That's nothing. Globalists will go, well, it is a lot, because it's so hot, and that adds up. It doesn't add up. It doesn't math. 100 degrees. And think about it, throughout the day, if the Earth is spinning, the sun is rising and lowering. So the tilt of the sun is changing all the time. But just because it's over here, there's that much of a difference. But if we look at it on a flat Earth, right? The sun was right here at 2:30 in the afternoon. The yellow line is where I was, and the green line is where it was 100 degrees colder. Twice as far. Which one makes sense? Twice as far versus an insignificant fraction of a percent.
Seems close. That is too close.
This would be nothing.
Yeah.
Seasons prove flat Earth. Once you understand how the seasons work, how the thermal heating of the Earth works, it only makes sense on a flat Earth. It's easy to believe you live on a ball because you're done and you agree with the majority of the people, which is changing. It's not going to be the majority much longer. To learn flat Earth, you really have to study. You have to think. You have to use your God-given common sense. You have to work that brain muscle. It's fun. It's great.
Yeah.
Do you guys look into the old world stuff in your classes?
No, we haven't. We just look into biblical cosmology, intelligent design, and they'll ask questions. There's times where we ask questions if they have questions about stuff like things like, technologies in the past and in the Bible, because I think we're having a return of a lot of the technologies that were like pre-flood technologies coming back, where they were being taught the wisdom of the fallen, and now we have that same worldly wisdom being taught again. And so I think that's why we're seeing such an explosion, absolute explosion, because when we were young, there was no internet and there was none of that. And now we're talking to each other live from all these different places, catching up to the moon landing technology where they were Skyping the moon before internet was invented. We're now doing it.
My whole life, we're going to have hotels on space, on the moon and everything. And, since I've been a flat earther, they're like, you wait, we're going to Mars, we're going to the moon. And they're like, just in a couple more months, we're going to the moon. They canceled it. They just constantly cancel it every single time. Every presidential administration, we're going to Mars, then we're going to the moon, we're going to Mars, we're going to the moon. We're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. It's just to string you along and keep you hoping. That's it.
Yeah. Well said.
And just show you guys how many people, just check this out. My app only represents a small percentage of the people on Earth that know about flat Earth, right? So here's the United States, and these are people that are using the friend finder on the app. It's crazy. It's crazy. And here's Europe, UK, everywhere.
Wow.
These are people that know the Earth is flat. When I first started, there's only a couple dots on here. It's growing. Once you go flat, you never globe back. South Africa.
Wow. We have students in South Africa and in Africa.
There you go.
So that's cool. Probably found the app and then came here.
Yeah, maybe. And Australia.
We got Australians too.
Yeah, there's lots, and it's growing.
A lot of them live near the flat water.
That's right. And this is New Zealand. New Zealand's getting covered.
Wow.
Yep. And once you become a flat earther, you don't go back to the globe. You don't.
Wow.
Yep.
That is cool. Use the app, and Dave said he'll give a link to us. I'll try to share that wherever he allows.
I'll give you. Just tell me how many people want them, and I'll give you instructions on how they can download it for free.
Okay.
I can only do it for Android. It's $3 for iOS, for Apple.
Okay.
And it does all those things, but just use it for the FAQ page. There's also a subscription, which is $11 a year, but you don't need that for most of the stuff. Just use it for the frequently asked questions page. Watch those videos every day. There's a featured video right here. Just watch one video a day while you're having your breakfast. Watch the video if you've done your homework.
It's worth the $3. I'm telling you. Yeah. Don't be a cheapskate when it comes to truth. The truth is priceless, and being able to pull something up on your phone and show somebody from the little thing like he does, like he's doing right now, you can do that with real people.
That's what I'm trying to teach people. Yeah. I'm trying to teach people how to use it to do what I do, because you have it. That's why I made it. So I had this stuff at my fingertips, right? There's also, I have flashcards. Do you know about the flashcards?
No, I don't. I haven't seen those.
So here are the flashcards, and you start them up. And this is from Nathan Thompson. He had, while juggling 5-pound lead balls, he listed off in alphabetical order 200 flat Earth proofs. And I took those proofs and I made these flashcards. You just swipe from card to card, and you see all these different proofs. And you can share them with people. You can just hit the little share button on the bottom right. And they're just simple flat Earth proofs. And if you get to a point where on the top left, there's a little icon that shows up, that means there's a video that's linked to them, right? Pretty cool, right?
That is cool.
And there's all sorts of different stuff on here.
Oh yeah, you can have some fun going through there.
And so I could just go here. I could go share, and I'll go here, and I could type in your name, and bam. I don't want to do it because your phone number will come up.
Yeah.
But I do it, and then bam, you do it. So you just plant seeds that way. It's fun.
And you can find people on there to fellowship with.
Right.
We've used fellowship finders and found friends that have now lifelong friends, changed our lives, changed their lives. So yeah, it's a good.
You can make meetups on here. You create a meetup, and then everyone in there that has their radius set to where your meetup is will get notified. But there's a biblical section here where it has all sorts of biblical resources, including, there it is, creation science.
Oh, that's cool. What a blessing.
There you go.
Blessing to have you helping to bring people to this journey, because it's a blessed journey so far, and censored, of course, but the people that are here are the best, as you have seen, the most humble and mature and investigative, inquisitive students I've ever had. And I've been teaching for about 17 years, and these are by far the best of the best. And I've had really good students. I'm not saying I haven't had good students. I've had great students. But as a whole, there's just no comparison to the ones we have joining sent this way.
All right, guys, spread the word. And I mean that, spread the word.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks so much, guys. And thanks so much, Dave, for your time. I know you're still on your travels, and you made time for us. So what a blessing. Is there any way to support or donate or do anything like that? Did you have any links you want me to share?
All I want you to do is share the truth. And if somebody wants to learn about flat Earth, the app is the best way to do it. If somebody wants to, get it for somebody else, you can use it to learn yourself, and you can use it to teach others, right? I got it. I made it because I wanted the map. I wanted to be able to show people, because they're like, where's that video? I'm looking for a video. So I made it, and I started adding more and more features. It was free at first, and I was like, this costs too much. I need to charge something for it. So I charged $3. And then I started adding more and more features. All the social media stuff cost me money per use. That's why I have to charge $11 a year. But $11 a year is nothing for what it does for you. And it's a tool. So that's how you support me. You support me by spending $3 on the app and telling other people about it. I don't need any donations, anything. But if you want to donate like a couple Bitcoin, I'll take it.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Well, thanks, guys, again, students, for joining in. Dave, for all the work you do, all the persecution you endure. I know, as somebody who puts information out there, it is like a war zone to the people who put themselves out there and have boldness. And so thanks for
Josh, have they seen the
boldness.
movie that you and I were in?
Ooh, yeah, I forgot about that. Origins Untold. It's on
Yeah,
I think
you
Amazon
should
Prime,
link them.
YouTube.
It's on YouTube. Yeah, give them a link. So Josh and I were in a movie together.
Yeah. Forgot about that. That was back in the day. I thought that was going to be it for us. We're going to get discovered. And
yeah.
Good documentary. It was a great one. You did real
by the
good.
way, so you guys, I'm sure you love watching movies and stuff. And, and listen, I'm all for good action adventure and all sorts of stuff like that. But on my website, which is also on the app in the more resources page, there's a section called Flat Earth Movies right here. But the same link is on my website, flatearthdave.com. Scroll down and it says Crash Course. Click it, and there's a playlist of really good feature-length movies. Start from the top and watch them with your family, watch them with your friends. They're really good. You'll love them. It's just like, wow, that was a great movie. I want to watch it again. Watch those movies, and you'll learn, and you'll laugh, and it's really, really good. The first one is by Sean Hibbler. It's an excellent movie, and it's like 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Right. And then there's the level series is in there, and all sorts of stuff. So watch those. Turn off. Be careful with what you do with your time. There's way more productive things to do than and listen. I'm all for some downtime. I'm all for some comedy. I'm all for fooling around. It's all good stuff. That's all part of life. But if you're looking for a fun movie, those are the best.
Yeah. And Hibbler just put out Climate Trails, which, man, I've only watched part of it. I'm like, I don't like knowing too much.
You got to get to the end of that one.
Yeah.
That's so well done, and still everyone's just normalized. Oh yeah,
Amazon Prime. Yeah, you can rent it for free for the 2-day trial, or you can pay for it and own it. But it was well done. The first parts that I saw, I didn't get to finish though. Climate Trails, Amazon Prime.
Climatetrails.com, right? Climatetrails.com is where you can find it, or just Amazon Prime, Climate Trails.
Yeah.
Again, parents, you guys need to watch that if you haven't watched it. It's not a theory. Flat Earth is not a theory. We don't need to do any more tests. We don't need to do any more. It's been done. We need to just spread awareness and clear up the misunderstandings that people have about Flat Earth.
Yeah. Exactly. And somebody asked what the name was for the app, Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, Zodiac
Flat
Clock
Earth,
app.
Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app by Blue Water Bay. Careful on Android because there's fake ones out there. But if you just go to flatearthdave.com on your phone and click the banner, it'll take you to the right place.
Yeah, there you go.
But if you on Apple, if you just type in Flat E, it's a number 2. But there's one that's an ad, then mine's right there. But you can't miss it.
Yeah.
Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. But just go to flatearthdave.com. That's all you got to remember. Flatearthdave.com. The movies are there. My interviews are there. Really good. You got to check out my latest interview with Brad Lee, Dropping Bombs. It's a big business podcast. It just dropped yesterday. It's really good. I flew out to Vegas from New York City at 7 a.m., did the podcast, flew back at 11 p.m., 25 hours round trip from New York to Vegas.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Impressive. I'm glad you did it though. That's right there. Putting yourself out there, operating when you're tired.
And the pilot did not nose down the whole way. He went straight and level and then landed
on a stationary runway. Thankfully.
A stationary one. I'll give you one more before we go. So I'm flying into Mexico. And the pilot goes, all right, we're 125 miles from the airport. Everybody sit up. We're going to start descending and, clean up your areas, the whole thing. Right. And the pilot needs to calculate. He needs to calculate how many feet per mile he needs to drop down in order to hit the runway. Right. How many feet per mile in order to hit the runway? So here we have the pilot. He's okay. I'm at 30,000 feet. I got 30 miles to go, whatever. I got to drop 1,000 feet per mile. Right. But he did it from 125 miles out. And his calculation was a flat earth calculation. It didn't account for any curvature. In reality, in fake globe reality, there's 2 miles of curvature. So he would have been here and the runway would have been 2 miles below him. But he didn't calculate for it and somehow he got there. What does that mean?
Wow. So they don't put a curve calculator into their
No, they treat everything as
model.
a level, stationary, non-rotating, flat, horizontal, unmoving plane.
Wow.
Air,
You can
plane.
assume that it's flat and not rotating because it is.
Yeah. All right, Josh. Thanks, man. Appreciate it, guys. Kids, keep up the good work. Don't believe any of the nonsense. And also, if you question something, that's okay. Question it. Verify it.
Yeah.
Don't just believe.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Dave. We appreciate it. You guys go check that out, flatearthdave.com. And we'll see you in class real soon. We have a 7 o'clock as well. So we'll see you guys. Stay humble, stay awesome, and stay ready. Have you been working overtime to protect your children from all the lies, indoctrination, and agendas, only to find out that the stuff is everywhere? If so, you're not alone. There are countless truth soldiers out there who are enduring the same battle you are, and there's something we can do. And we're not here to hand out blindfolds to everybody so we can protect all of our children. We are here to give them a strong foundation, one that is based on proving all things and using earth and life science as well as math and biblical history to prove that our Father's words are the truth. It's a scientific journey. You have 2 teachers joining with lots of experience. And this journey is one that will be live and interactive for multiple time zones around the world, where children are logging in to learn and explore our Father's intelligent design, as well as what this world actually is compared to what they say it is. It's a life-changing experience, and it will provide you and your children with a foundation that the lies cannot break apart. And if this sounds like something you're interested in, go to creationstandard.com, check out our course information, and register today so that you don't miss out on this incredible journey as we replace the indoctrination with our Father's provable truth of creation at creationstandard.com.